I usually start these things all happy and bubbly. I say good morning to everybody or good afternoon and ask how everyone's doing. I care how everyone's doing, but I'm not asking that today because it's game 7. I'm fucking nervous. These guys blew it. How are you guys feel? I can't I'm all over the place today. I tried to do a long shift at work, but they just ran out of me for things to do. My boss was like, just go home and get ready for the game. I can't do that. How are we feeling?
I feel okay. You should tell everyone you work in hockey first because I don't think a lot of jobs would let you do that.
Well, yeah, I kind of make my own hours, but whatever.
Yeah, that's important to say. Anyways, yeah, I'm pretty nervous. I just think when you look at our franchise's history with Game 7, especially this core, I think there's been a lot of letdowns, and a lot of people say that was against Boston. It's not like a team like Montreal. Well, I saw them lose to Game 5 in Columbus last year, so my faith is not very high, to be honest with you.
We are joined today by Antonia from That Hockey Chicks podcast. How are you feeling about this game?
I'm nervous too. I do feel different. Like I get a different vibe from this team. I don't know if that's just me kind of wanting them and just me hoping that they win, but I do feel different, but I still am very nervous. I've been nervous since the series started.
Yeah, I felt good at the end of Game 5, and now it's like, oh God. Well, no, at the end of Game 4, sorry, when they're up 3-1, and now it's like, oh, we are all over the place. What is this team? Well, though, let's start at the beginning. If you're Sheldon Keefe and you're given 2 minutes to go into the room and give your pregame speech, what are you saying? Antonio, we'll start with you. What would you tell the guys? Are you going over strategy? Like, is it in their head? What are you saying?
I do think it's in their head. I think he would have to say something along the lines of it kind of like look where like you got to 3-1 and then kind of say like you guys played shit the last 2 games. And I feel like you have to make them realize that they kind of what's the word? They lost the opportunity in those last 2 games 5 and 6. And I think just drill that point that they lost that opportunity, and also point things out like Tavares, for example, who's he took part in the optional practice this morning, the optional skate. So pointing things out like that, like you want to give a guy like Tavares a chance to be able to, I mean, that's why he came here. He came here because he wanted to win a cup. So knowing how close he is to possibly returning and saying like, you want to give someone like him, he's your captain, you got to kind of do it for him. That's kind of been the theme the entire series. So just making them know that they made a mistake and that they need to make up for it because they're trying to set a new narrative here, a new story. And I think that's what they have to remember. Matt,
what about you?
Well, I think it goes both ways. If I was the players, I'd be telling Sheldon Keefe a few things too. I think he just needs to keep the lines the same, and be completely honest with you. I think our team gets flustered so easily, and then when we go in the face of adversity, we tend to change every single thing we built with this core, if you know what I'm trying to say. So I just think it's key guys making mistakes these last 2 games. Like I know Galchenyuk and Dermott kind of did the fatal mistake, but Marner, Josh, I know you like to get all over him. He has been
there's no words.
Yeah, so he's in a So I'll go on Riley because I think Riley's better just to talk about, and it's easier because, like you said, with Mitch Marner, there's words kind of escape your head.
Yeah.
But I just think Morgan Riley, he's not really feeling it that well, and I just kind of think he feels so much pressure to be an offensive defenseman. But I just kind of look at Muzzin last game, scoring 2 goals. Like the offense will come if you play solid defense. I know it's a really boring thing to say, but I think Riley's like, I don't want to say he's the only defenseman playing bad, but when I looked at Hall, Muzzin, and Brody, and even Bogosian, I think they're playing better than him. And I would think if Bogosian's playing better than your best defenseman, that's very problematic for the Toronto Maple Leafs squad. So anyways, get back to your question before the game. Like I said, I would just keep everything the same, maybe keep Kerfoot at center. I think Kerfoot's been playing pretty good, which is kind of embarrassing relative to our top guys. So yeah, I just think we need to get going. You hope in Game 7 it's more clutch. And also our bottom 6 forwards have to create a lot more momentum and physicality. I'm looking at guys like Thornton and Simmons.
Yeah, if I'm Sheldon Keefe, these guys know what to do. They're top NHL players. They played these guys 6 times in the playoffs. They played them 10 times in the regular season too.
About 8 or 9.
So they played them a total of 16 times this year. They know what to do. They know the pressure that's on them. I go in there, I say 3 words. I say, just fucking win. Because the whole narrative would be erased. Everybody would forget about games 1 to 6. And Matt, you may not because you like to poke holes in all my arguments. I'd forget it. I'd say, whatever. They won the first round. That's all I want. I don't think it's selfish for this fan base to want one first-round victory over a
No,
team
yeah.
who finished 18 points above in the regular season. Or am I being delusional here and just letting everybody like?
I think you're being delusional. I don't like. I look at it more like these look like problems long term than it just does this series. If you know what I'm trying to say. So I kind of think even if you play Winnipeg, you lose, you win, whatever happens. I think it's going to be hard to forget what happened in terms of a player who's not playing good. Because when you look at all the guys making the mistakes, it's the guys that are going to be here for a long time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say? And it's kind of like a few years ago, it was they're only 19, they're only 20. But like I've seen them win a rocket. Like I've seen them be a top 5 leading goal scorer. I've seen Riley have a 72-point campaign. I don't remember what year that was. But Josh, you know what I'm trying to say, right? Like these are longer problems. And also when you look at our cap friendly and just look at how we're built, the only guys that we have signed forwards for next year that aren't the big four, so Tavares, Marner, Matthews, and Nylander, I think it's Kerfoot, Mikheyev, and Engvall. That is very probably like even you're laughing because it's kind of like
I didn't even realize that.
Like we have to get it going at some point. And I think when you like, I know we haven't lost yet. I'm kind of talking about like us losing, but I just kind of think when you look at it as a big perspective, as how is Dubas building this team, I think it's more like we have so many chips in this year that if it doesn't fall through, you're going to have to retool in the aspect of bringing more people in. Is Simmons going to leave? Like, you know what I'm trying to say? So I think this series and this game is probably the biggest of their careers by far. I know that's kind of a niche thing to say, but you know what I'm trying to say?
Antonio, tell me why I'm overreacting.
I was just going to say, I think I agree with what Matt was saying, because it's kind of what Dubas did, especially last summer and at the deadline. He kind of like, he basically said, I'm giving you everything right now and basically do it this year or else they're not going to have to start from scratch, but it's like, do it this year or else like next year we're going to have to, you know, start from almost the beginning. So I definitely think this game it's going to be huge, but I also don't think that people are going to forget about games 1 to 6. And the reason I say that is because of the way Toronto is built and the fans and like everything, everyone likes to pick on the Leafs and stuff. So I don't think that people are going to forget about it regardless, which sucks. But I mean, I can get why people wouldn't want to forget about it because we were up 3-1. But then I don't know. At the same time, I feel like if they do win this game 7, I can see guys like Matthews and Marner almost like a wake up call, saying like we just squeaked by, so we have to, you know, pick it up. And then also winning in round 1 is kind of that mentality that we've waited so long for this. We haven't been able to do it in X number of years. Now we did it. So it's almost like kind of like they're going to ride off of that momentum. And I can see them being able to pick it up if they're able to move past the first round.
That's the thing, right? Like they say hurdlers, like at the Olympics, they always say the first hurdle is the hardest one to overcome. So maybe that can be applied to the playoffs. You both mentioned Dubas and how he's built this team. I think, and I see a lot of people, there's some dumbasses on Twitter. Obviously, you two are not two of them, but there's some people on Twitter who just put stuff out there saying, if they lose this series, Shanahan's got to go, Dubas has got to go, and Keefe have got to go. I don't think they do. Like, this team is built correctly in the way that Dubas has done what he said he would do. He went out and he got a backup goalie who is now your starter. He filled the holes on defense, and he got depth forwards who also brought leadership. Those were his 3 goals for the offseason and the trade deadline. He went out and did that. So do you disagree with that, Matt? Because he's
no. I understand what you're trying to say, but
hang on. He said he's done everything he wants to do. Now it's on the players to go out. All we're asking is to win 1 game, and that's tonight at 7:00. And they never start on fucking time, so 7:20. But you know,
let me ask you a question though, Josh. Like you said, like get Morgan Riley a defense partner. He did this. Veterans, he did this. Get Anderson a goalie partner. He did this. Don't you think it looks even worse that he's checked off all the boxes and we still can't beat Montreal? Like that's kind of where I'm at. Like I think
that's not on him. That's on the players.
Yeah, that's not. Yeah.
I think it's kind of on him because if you build,
because you want me to go out there with my shin pads on and like fucking play defense with Riley?
No, but Josh, listen to me. If you say to the owner, to the fans, I built the perfect team, and then they lost to Game 7 against Montreal, it looks like that your hockey knowledge is subpar because your perfect team couldn't beat Montreal. Like, you know what I'm trying to say? I think that's more my point.
I don't.
I think I think it's not on Dubas, and the reason I'm saying that is because like he did, like he gave them all the pieces and everything, but like what you were saying and how people are gonna look at it and see like he was able to give them all this, but then they still lost. I feel like that again, it's like on the players, because on paper, if you look at all the pieces he put together, and this is if any other person that's not a Leaf fan looks at this roster, they're going to look at it and say, this is, you know, they've got a lot of pieces. This is compare this team to the team last year, the team 2 years ago. Like, it's significant improvements that were made, and that's what the GM's job is. Their job is to bring in these pieces, give a very highly skilled roster or whatever, all those pieces together. And that's what he did. He gave them all those assets. And then after that, it's the coach's job to then come in and say, I have to find a way to use all these pieces that I'm given and, you know, put them all together properly so that they can work to their best ability. Now, that being said, I do love Keefe, so I'm not blaming Keefe either. But like, it's hard to pick someone to blame because like you don't know. Like, we don't have a way of knowing what goes on in the locker room and the discussion they have. Like, Dubas could be telling Keefe to do one thing and Keefe's not listening. Keefe could be saying to do something the players aren't listening. Like, there's so many things that we just like don't know. But I wouldn't place blame on Dubas because I think he did all. I don't think he could have done any more.
Matt wanted him to go and get McDavid, apparently.
You just made that up. But anyways, yeah, so can't we just blame everybody?
Well, that's my whole point. It's on the players.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, why can't I blame the 23 players, Shanahan, Dubas, and Keefe? Why can't I blame it? Like, everyone's in this together. You know what I'm trying to say? So
sure, you can. Go ahead.
So I'm blaming everybody. That's the answer to the question.
Yeah, that's
at the end of the day, it wouldn't matter if they lose tonight. Blame everyone. I don't care.
Yeah, but also, Josh, but like 16-17 when we played Washington. If I told you 4 seasons later this team never won a playoff round, would you not be utterly embarrassed? Like, just be completely honest.
I would go and buy an Anaheim Ducks jersey.
Exactly, because I just kind of look at where we were and what's kind of happening, and the opponents we're losing to are getting worse and worse every year. Like, that's why it's embarrassing. But our team is supposedly getting better and better. So what I'm trying to do is kind of look at the timeline of how this team is built and say, did we lose the Kapanen trade? Did we lose the like, you know what I'm trying to say? Like, kind of backtrack to be like, why? What did we do wrong, and how could we do better? And I feel like if fans go on that route more, you're more try to piece it together. Do you know what I'm kind of trying to say? Like, I do feel like something went wrong. Maybe they needed another Marlowe. Like, you know what I'm trying to say? Like, maybe we should have went for it earlier when they were on their baby entry-level contracts. Maybe $11 million for Tavares wasn't good. Like, I don't believe those things, but I'm just saying something went wrong in the timeline because we should be a lot better at this moment, in my opinion.
I don't know. It's tough to pinpoint what went wrong. And I think, like, honestly, if we're just looking at this, we could go and look back to the year Matthews was drafted, because that's kind of when this team started to all come together. If we're looking at this series directly, they can't finish. This team doesn't have that killer instinct right now. A couple players on the team do. I believe Jason Spezza does. I believe Wayne Simmons does. I think Joe Thornton has it. And something about the way Zach Hyman plays is playing. Muzzin as well, but he's not playing tonight, right?
Yeah.
Bogosian knows what to do as well. There's some guys on here. And to win tonight, I think those players have to be the one that step up. You got to have your stars step up too. Like, Matthews better go out there, and I want nothing less than a hat trick. All I'm expecting of Martyr tonight is to not throw it over the glass. But like Matthews, he's got to get out there and show us why he believes he is the best player in the NHL. Because I think he truly does believe that he is. There's nobody better than him, goal scoring wise. Okay, but I don't know. This team just has so much to prove in this one game. In 60 minutes, prove it. Right? And there's another aspect of this. Jack Campbell, we finally have that goaltender who, what's his save percentage? It's like a .957 save percentage.
Yeah.
Something like that. We finally got this playoff goaltender, and you're crapping the bed in front of him. Like, if there's anybody you should be winning this series for, it's Jake Muzzin, John Tavares, and Jack Campbell, because, you know, that's why they're here. I don't know. You guys take all
Well,
that.
I would just, if you look at Campbell too, like the last game, he kept it. There were a few key saves that he made towards the end of the game where he kept it at 2-0, and he allowed them to come back. And it just, I think the most frustrating thing about that game was the third period and the overtime period. We were absolutely dominating, like every second it was all us, and that's what's most frustrating, because Campbell gave us 2 golden opportunities in 5 and 6, and they lost it. So they definitely owe it to Campbell this game, I think.
Should we be worried about Game never being played in a Game 7?
I don't think so. I think he's proven this series that he can tolerate it, he can handle it. I don't think he's going to be any different than he has been.
Matt, what about you?
To be completely honest, when you play Montreal, if your goalie gives up 3 goals and below, you should probably win against Montreal. I know that sounds bad, but
but you're correct.
Yeah, they struggle to score, and I kind of think Campbell literally every game. I know there's one game I think Keith said he wanted one back or something like that. What game was that, Josh? 5?
4.
Yeah, 4. Yeah, one of those games.
5.
Yeah, 5. But I kind of look at Campbell and I'm like, I don't know what more you could expect on a first-year starting goalie. Like, do you know what I'm trying to say? Like, I know he's not a rookie in the sense of the word, but in the sense of this mega market, everything that's going on, I think he's probably had the best season of his life. He stole Freddie Anderson's job. Like, I don't know what more you want him to do. So I don't really look at goaltending. I kind of look at all the guys who go into games and say, I have no idea what you're doing. Like, when I look at other successful teams, like Sean Crowley on Boston, I know his role. Ryan Reeves on Vegas last night. When it was ticking down, I knew what Ryan Reeves was thinking, and he accomplished what he did. But so I'm just kind of saying, on a game-to-game basis, what does Pierre Engvall do? What does Travis Dermott do? You know what I'm trying to say? So I feel like we have a lot of guys who aren't really playing a role right now.
I agree with you on some front, but there have been guys on this team that have stepped up more than we expected them to, right?
Who?
Yeah.
Spezza. I think Spezza's really stepped up. Wayne Simmons has been great in this series outside of Game 6. I think Zach Hyman's been phenomenal. You know, Jack Campbell's been amazing. Zach Bogosian's been a superstar. TJ Brody's been shut down on defense. There's guys that have stepped up, but you need more than just a few guys to step up. Look at the Colorado Avalanche. I mean, we might as well just hand them the cup right now because everybody on that team is stepping up. That's what you need. And I think it's going to take a full team effort tonight. You're going to have outstanding performance. Like, I don't know if everybody has to have a perfect game, because the games that Toronto have lost, they have literally handed them to Montreal on 3 turnovers. Like, I don't know. It's just one of those things, you know, the Game 1 loss, I think we can all chalk that up to the Tavares injury. Is that the conclusion we've all come to after watching games 2, 3, and 4?
Yeah,
for me, yeah.
I would agree with that one. And then Game 5 was an overtime loss on a turnover, and Game 6 was an overtime loss on a turnover.
Mm-hmm.
You literally handed them 3 wins. So just be the better team tonight. Don't make some dumb mistakes. Keep it simple, and you're going to win this game. But on the other hand, this is the Toronto Maple Leafs. They've choked a 3-1 lead, and it's going to a Game 7 in Toronto with fans in the building for the first time in 14 months. So you're probably going to lose like 5-0. That's just in the back of my head. Right?
I don't know. I think I don't know. I think you do a good job keeping in touch with the fans, Josh.
I do.
So like,
I'm on Twitter way too much.
Yeah, so I don't really know what the Twitter like convos are, but like I kind of go in every game kind of like open-minded. You know what I'm trying to say? So I'm not really thinking about all the other failures. I know they are, but I think at 7:00 tonight, just sit down and just watch and just evaluate each game, because like some other hockey shows I'm listening to, everyone's bringing back 2013 against Boston, and I'm like, I don't see a correlation at all.
That Leafs team shouldn't have even been there.
No, but you know what I'm trying to say? Like, I think they're trying to grab every single bad thing that has happened in Leafs history and kind of put it on these guys' shoulders, and that's not really fair to do. And also, as a fan, it's going to destroy you. Like, I think it's very realistic that a team that hasn't won a cup since there are more than 6 teams in it probably has some dark days. And I don't really think it's good to put the dark days on Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner's shoulders. You know what I'm trying to say?
I think it's fair if what's Marner make? 10-9?
I hate that argument. Let me explain why.
I'm sorry. No, you pay somebody to do their job, so do your job. If I go to work and I don't do my job, you know what happens? I don't get paid. If you went to Matt, you work at Fortino's, right? If you go to Fortino's and you just stand there like, no, I don't want to do whatever you do, they're not going to pay you.
Okay, you can't compare my job and your job to a professional athlete. First of all, I think that's disrespectful to the professional athlete.
It's
And
disrespectful
second,
to me.
okay,
I should be making more money.
Yeah, okay, you should, Josh. And
Okay, go
also,
ahead, Matt.
I don't know. I think it's just kind of a Canadian thing. Like whenever someone makes like a crazy amount of money, we all get all on them and we're all kind of mad. Like this very like hate the wealthy thing going on nowadays. So I don't really mind what he's making, especially in like a short-term playoff thing. Like he's making that over the span of 6 years. And I think when it's all said and done, he'll be worth that contract. So I think it does you a disservice of he played a bad game. Oh, he makes 10.89. Oh, he does this. Oh, he does this. It's like, it's not healthy, Josh. That's what I'm trying to tell you. You know, so I think
nothing about this fan base is healthy.
I know, but I just think it's too much. Like I think when you look at even other players around the league that have kind of had tough goals, they don't always bring up their contract. Like I was seeing Islanders fans tweet saying, "Oh, Barzal needs to be better." They never bring up his contract as the highest paid player. I think that's just such a Toronto thing, or even
you know why they
thing.
don't bring it up? Because they're in the second round.
But you know what I'm trying to say? Like I just think it's too much. Like the whole contract stuff. Like you have to get that behind you to move forward.
I'll put it behind me if they win tonight. Go ahead, Anton.
I think I think that even if they do make it into the second round, people are not going to put that behind them. People are still going to be using that against people like Marner. I definitely think that will never go away.
But is that not fair for the like?
Josh, Dubas gave it to him just as much as Marner took it.
Yeah, exactly. That's so true.
That's a very good.
If someone came and offered you $50 million to do something, like you're not going to argue and say no, I'll take 10 million. Like you're gonna take the 50, right? But yeah. I think that anyway, like you look at the entire season, one of the main reasons that the Leafs were able to make the playoffs in the first place was because of Matthews and Marner. They were huge pieces for us this season. So I mean, in order to make the playoffs in the first place, they kind of helped us get there. And if they didn't do that, then we wouldn't be here in the first place. So I know that people like to pick on they're not little mistakes. Like he made some like stupid mistakes over the series, but
just
like
a freaking saucer pass into the 300s.
Yeah, like he did make mistakes, obviously, and obviously it's disappointing to see that he's not been able to do what he's been doing all season. But I don't think that. I mean, you can look at McDavid too. Like people were trashing McDavid. I saw when they lost. You can't rely on one guy to single-handedly. I think it was like the Oilers have lost like 80% of McDavid's multi-point playoff games, something like that. It's like how can you trash someone who's able to do that and then the rest of your team just can't win? It's like I don't know, like I kind of draw a parallel like that sometimes because it's
the only issue I have with that argument is Edmonton doesn't really have a team outside of McDavid, Nurse, Draisaitl, and maybe like who else?
That's it.
Yeah, they're more like a single. We're obviously more we have more depth and stuff. So, but I'm just trying to say like you can't. If he had stepped up over the series, same with Matthews, maybe we would have been able to go to win the game 5 or whatever it was. But I definitely don't think that it's fair to just pin it on one or two guys. It's a team effort. At the end of the day, it's the team that wasn't able to step up, and you can even blame it on the leaders too in the locker room. Maybe they're not hyping up the young guys enough. Maybe Thornton and Spezza aren't talking to Sandin or Dermott or Matthews or Marner, like saying. I mean, Matthews and Marner have been through this, losing in the playoffs, not making it past round 1 in how many years? So you need guys that have been past round 1 to be able to help them and say, this is what you have to do for game 7. This is how you have to act, like blah, 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 blah.
It's, I don't know. It's just great. Let's focus on some positives here. So going into this game tonight, what are you excited to see out of this team? Because I really want to see, I've loved William Nylander's game so far in the playoffs. I think he's taken, we all know the people on Facebook, they have like or not Facebook, Twitter, they got the profile pictures with the beard, the sunglasses, and they're looking down at it, taking the photo from their driver's seat. I think we all know that stereotype saying, oh, Nylander, he's not going to step up when they need it. Well, he stepped up when they got four goals across 6 games going into game 7. I think he's going to have a big night tonight. What are you two excited to see? Matt, we'll start with you.
Nothing.
You're not excited about anything?
No, not really. It's kind of more like an anxious feel. Like I think excitement is like, yeah,
we're trying to get some positives going.
I know, I understand.
Make me feel better.
I will. I'll turn the negative into positive right now.
Okay.
I think that like excitement, like you're ready to go. I'm kind of sitting here Like I'm looking for 7, and I don't even know if I want to make it come closer, or make it want to come farther away.
I
Like
know.
maybe let's play this game next week and see if we're better. Like, maybe something like that. But I think the positive could be, regardless of what happens tonight, you're gonna have a better feel on how good our core players are, if that makes any sense. So an example is if Matthews is -2 and he plays bad, I know, you know what? Maybe we have to actually spend a lot more money on another winger or another this. Or, you know what, Hyman, let's not negotiate with him. Let's just give him 5 times 5 because I think he's that important to Matthews.
I would do that right now.
I think, yeah, I would too. I just made up 5 times 5. But anyways, I just think you're going to get a lot more answers in that retrospect. And also, I know you said Thornton's played good. You said it a lot, but like,
when did I say that?
You said that
I said
throughout the thing.
Oh, I said he stepped up as a leader. I don't think he's played well at all.
Okay, well, Josh, I don't know what that means. So you can play bad and you still step up as a leader. If you want to explain that to the group?
Sure. You can be vocal on the bench. Like I always see him talking to the young guys, like on face-offs. He's showing people where to go, like all that stuff.
I could do that, Josh.
Okay, then go do it, Matt. Like, but they're letting people in the building tonight. You go down there and you show Marner where to stand on a face-off. No, I'm kidding.
He's not done a good job if he's telling Marner where to go.
No, but like, you know what I mean? Like you have those. I always think back to team. I forget what team it was, but they had one guy. He didn't really do anything, but he was on the team to be a voice in the locker room. I think
like a chemo team in. Yeah.
Yeah, and I always think back to Thornton had a rough stretch, and in the middle of that rough stretch, they released that video for Patrick Marleau where Matthews and Marner were thanking him. I brought this up like 3 or 4 times on the show now. And then all of a sudden, Joe Thornton walks in the background, butt-ass naked, and they turn around and they laugh at him. Obviously, they blurred it out. It sounds weird, but you do need that on a team. So I think if they had scratched Joe Thornton, it would have done more bad than it would have done good. Because what are you doing? You're getting Joe Thornton or Nick Patan? Like, what's the difference?
No. If I'm scratching one guy, it's Pierre Engvall, but that's not the point.
Leave him alone. He's played well.
No, he's not. Dude.
He's done okay for, like, I feel like he's been, like, at expectation. Like, I don't think he's performed below expectation.
I don't know what expectation is for Pierre Engvall.
That is true.
I guess.
It's just not sucked, I guess. Like, he's played okay. I believe him, but he's not the problem.
What I'm trying to say is when you try to, like, on all seriousness, when you're trying to win a Stanley Cup, you need lines 1 to 4 to be dialed in and actually contributing, even if they play 8 minutes, 12 minutes. When Engvall goes on the ice, it's chaos. Like, you know what I'm trying to say?
Why do you hate your Engvall?
Dude, I just think when you're 6'5" and you're not working hard, you're not bared down, it looks a lot worse compared to someone else because you're 6'5" and Gallagher is taking the puck from you. You know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't look good. Like, so in that respect, and also when we gave him the contract, 2 years, 3.2, we basically said, you're an NHL player. And he was playing good. He skated, he did this. But then I think he had 1 goal in his next 40 games, and it was against David Ayers. Like, you know what I'm trying to say?
Paid 3.2.
No, sorry, I said 1.2.
Oh, I thought you said 3.2.
No, sorry. Yo, if he was paid 3. Yeah, anyways. Yeah, so that's my Pierre Engvall deep dive.
Okay, Antonio, what are you excited about for tonight?
The first line. I'm excited to see what they're gonna do. I have a feeling like in the last game they started to kind of pick it up a bit and get a few more chances. So I hope that they kind of build off of that. They looked a little bit better. So that, and then not really excited but more curious to see how both Dermott and Sandin do in the lineup with Muzzin out. I'm kind of I don't know. I'm just curious to see how, because that's a big change. That's a big hole that they're going to have to fill with Muzzin out. So I'm curious to see how that works out. And I want to see the team that was there in Game 4. That's what I want to see.
And Josh, you know what's even more sad when you look at it? Our right side of defense is probably playing better than our left side. Our left side right now is Riley, who you can say what you want about him, Sandin, and Dermott. Like, actually think about that in your head. Riley, Sandin, and Dermott. They've not played good.
I don't care which side of the defense is playing better, Matt.
Dude, it matters. Like, I'm just saying, like,
if the left side of the door doesn't open, you just go through the right one. Like, fuck.
Okay, I don't think when
defense has to be
when Cole
well.
Caulfield's coming down the ice, I don't think he thinks, okay, weak side, bad side. You know what I'm trying to tell you?
If you think an NHL player doesn't think that, you're crazy.
Dude, the game's going so fast. You can't.
Oh man, they are definitely thinking if they're coming down and they see, like, say for some reason Sandine and Riley are on the ice together, and he's on Riley's side, he's thinking, I got to get this puck over to the other side. NHL, that has nothing to do with the game tonight, but you know what I mean.
Yes, but that wasn't my point. My point was saying it's funny, and maybe it's not a good thing that our right side was so bad, but now it's good. Now our left side's bad. You understand what I'm trying to say? The Leafs, they never get good at the things they need to get good at the same time. It's right side gets better, left side sucks now. Like, that was the joke I was trying to make.
I got it.
Thank you.
Sure, Matt, whatever. So let's focus on another positive. There will be 550 frontline, I don't want to mess up, frontline healthcare workers in the building tonight. Free entry. They get a free Leafs jersey upon entry, but it's kind of been a little bit of a roller coaster to get there because there was a proposal put forward. I believe it was put forward 2 days ago, and it was declined yesterday because they said, no, we don't want fully vaccinated people in a masked event, which told me, I'm going, okay, then why the hell did I just go and get my vaccine if I'm not going to be allowed to do anything anyway? This government's a joke. That could be a whole nother podcast. But will these fans make a difference? I honestly don't care if it makes a difference or not. I'm just happy we're able to give back to 550 frontline healthcare workers, right? Like that's a good thing. We saw the crowd in Montreal. Maybe we'll start with that. What do we think of that crowd in Montreal? Because I got chills watching the anthem, hearing them sing it. I thought that was really cool. You could hear them throughout the game. Are we going to be able to hear these fans tonight? What are we thinking? I'd love to hear your thoughts on the fans in Montreal, kind of put it all together. Antonia, why don't you start us off?
There were times where I didn't really notice that there were fans in there, kind of because they've been like pumping the sounds in and stuff, and it kind of like it sounded the same. The only different thing that I noticed was I think they were chanting Campbell at one point. It was like something, they were chanting someone's name. I can't remember who it was. But I would say, like, for the most part, there were points where I forgot that there were fans there. I don't know if a portion of that is because like they weren't in the view of the camera, so you couldn't actually see them. But I don't know. It felt the same to me because they've been pumping the sounds in all series. I don't know if it affected the players, but I have no idea. A small part of me says that it did, but in terms of the fans tonight, it's only 550. I don't know how, unless they're like super passionate, like diehard Leafs fans. I don't know if we're gonna be able to tell, if some people weren't able to tell when it was 2,500. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. I think 550, like that, like, Josh, we've been in the games. Like, it's a pretty big barn. I think that's kind of not amount.
I think 550 is a joke. You definitely could have put 2,500 in there. But
yeah, we don't have to get into politics, but I kind of agree with you. Like, where we are, kind of in just giving vaccines out, there's probably a lot more first responders, healthcare workers, paramedics, and everyone who's been involved in this. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, I think you probably could get like more people, but I don't know. It's happy to see something just better than zero. You know, like it's kind of hard to remember, especially in lockdown, that we are a lot closer than we were a few months ago, because it's kind of every day feels the same. But we are, and I do think there is positivity in that, as you're trying to say. So I'm just hoping that's back to full barns come fall, which I think is kind of realistic.
Even like 25%. Like,
yeah, it'll be something. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it's good that fans are going. Everyone's going to watch, and I think the free jersey idea is a good one. I think it would have been better to give people like probably a better notice. Like, I think Montreal, they said game 6 before the series started, right?
Yeah,
they were going to start. Yeah. So I think that's probably very beneficial just in terms of like workers and cancel, like, you know, I'm trying to just coming in, the ushers, all that stuff. So yeah, I think it is positive.
To be fair, Matt, who's turning that down? Like, if for some reason, if I was having a kid and their due date was tonight, and like they reached out to me and go, hey, you can come to game 7 of Leafs Habs, I'd be like, this is a tough one. Right? Like, people aren't going to turn this down, and you can easily find 550 people to go to this game.
No, but it's like fully vaccinated people. I think they only want it. So.
Oh yeah, you could do that easily.
Well, I don't know how many fully vaccinated people there are, but anyways, like the point is more just is that it's good that fans are back and just get going.
For sure. Do we have what's your final thoughts going into this game tonight?
Oh, go.
No. I'm going to say, for everything I just said, it sounds weird, but I do think we're going to win. After everything I said, I actually think we're going to win. And
you know what's dumb? I do too.
Yeah. I'm mentally prepared if we lose, but in my heart of hearts, I think we're going to win. But
I've come to peace with losing.
Yeah, I guess that's it is.
I'll gently turn the TV off. I'll take my dog down to go to the bathroom, and then I'll throw on some Brooklyn Nine-Nine when I come back up. Like, I'm not gonna freak out. I'm not gonna do anything. I'll probably uninstall Twitter, but I'll be at peace.
Josh, I think a realistic question is, if they do lose and say it is a 5-0 SmackDown, what do you do in the offseason? Where do you go from here if you were in charge?
I don't care right now.
That's a great analysis.
Ask me after the expansion.
Okay, yeah, we're talking about that expansion.
It's true. You know what?
That was funny.
Okay, but is this? I've been contemplating this. I'll ask it out loud because I think it's been a dumb question, but I think it's fair. I've cheered for this team since I was 6. I'm 24 now, so I've cheered for this team for 18 years. The 2 most successful moments in this franchise's history have both been off the ice: drafting Austin Matthews and signing John Tavares. Off the ice. Nothing on the ice has been successful. Okay? Is it ridiculous of me to say, if they lose tonight, I say I'm giving this team 1 more year, and then I may have to find another team?
No, I'd say.
Hang on. And by finding another team, like, I'll still have a place in my heart for the Leafs, but I'm a Ducks fan as well. Like, do I switch it from Leafs Ducks to Ducks Leafs? Like, is that stupid to ask?
Yes, Josh. You wake up early in the morning, and the Ducks games don't start till 10:30. You're not going to be a hardcore Ducks fan. Like,
I watch the late games anyway. I watch Ducks games anyway.
I know, but like, that's not the point. Anyways, it's more just like you live in like Ontario, so I think it's kind of hard when you have access to their jerseys, to their banners behind you. You know what I'm trying to say? Okay, well, that's another. I'd rather be a Leafs fan than a Sens fan, to be completely honest with you. Like, I know they did go to the No. Because the Leaf problems are on the ice. But say whatever you want. People always say that they're like well run. Like, Dubas is like a really nice, compassionate person. Like, they do put the players first. They have all the resources they have. And I think the goalie coach of the Sens doesn't go to away games. Like, you know what I'm trying to say? Like, it's a pretty good, like, you know. So anyways, and also just like you said, the Matthews and Tavares is a good accomplishments. But people have to understand that, like, look where we came from. I know we haven't won a round yet, and I made fun of us like a few minutes ago saying that. But in aspect of always finishing 4th to 12th, this is relatively better.
It's a lot better.
Yeah. So I think we have to relax. Like, we were like the Knicks. We were the Coyotes. Like, the days could be darker, you know? Like, we do see guys winning the Rocket. Like as crazy as it sounds, but when you buy a ticket to go watch them live, it's worth every penny. Because they do put an interesting product on the ice, as weird as that sounds.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Antonia, how are you feeling going into this? Final thoughts.
I kind of feel the same. I think they're gonna win, but I'm still nervous. Like, I'm still not gonna be able to like eat anything for the rest of the day until the game is over. So I just hope that they show up. I hope that they play like the Leafs that they've been all season. That's all they need to do, and that's all I'm hoping for.
All right. Well, we always finish this show with a little bit of a game. Matt has one, but he's not prepared for it, so I'll take over the reins. We're going to play a quick game of yes, no, and why. Not Matt used to think the rules were yes, no, and or why am I asking this question? The rules, you have to pick one, yes or no, and then explain why. So we're going to do a little bit of that. It's going to be focused on just the Leafs. So first, yes, Matt.
But shouldn't it be yes, no, then why? Because yes, no, why, it sounds like it's 3 different options. Sure. You know what I'm trying to say? So I like my way better.
Okay, fine. Well, welcome to yes, no, then why. So if the Leafs lose tonight, the Mitch Marner trade talks will be at an all-time high. Yes, no, and why?
I'm going to ask why. Because the why you're asking the question is more like trade talks between like fans or like actual.
That's not an option. You have to pick yes or no and explain yourself.
Can you explain the question more? I actually don't understand. Like, I'm not being difficult. I actually don't like fans or actual Dubas. No, not it's Dubas, different.
Fans.
Okay, but the fans have been trying to trade Marner for 4 years now.
You're horrible at this game.
Yes, trade talks with Marner will continue. I saw Marner for Eichel. Like, I do think
Do it.
Like, yeah, so they will start between fans, but between general managers, I don't think so.
Okay. Antonio, what about you?
I think it will too. Like he said, like they've been going on forever. I think that it's just gonna increase a little bit, and people are just gonna be upset, and it's just people are gonna start making these random trades all over the place.
Yeah, I'm excited. Well, I'm not excited for them to lose, but if they lose, I'm excited to see the crazy trade proposals that people will put forward. Because even on a good year, people put forward some dumb
Yeah.
suggestions. Okay, yes, no, and then explain yourself. Maybe does that make more sense, Matt?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, no, explain yourself. John Tavares will play in the second round if the Leafs get there.
I guess I'll go. I don't know. I do want to see him back, and I saw him skating, but like especially with concussions, like
Gotta
the
be
more
very careful.
exactly like Josh, I know you've suffered from them. Like I
Yeah.
think, especially in this new age, I would hate to rush him back, and then later on in his life, he's feeling effects like when he's 40 or 50. So to be completely honest with you, like just from like a fan of seeing, I obviously want him to play, but from like just a person to person, I kind of don't want to see him the rest of the year, just to make sure he's healthy. You know what I'm trying to say? Like it's a gray area, you know. I don't want him to be rushed at all.
No, for sure, I get that. Antonio, what about you?
Yeah, I think I agree. I think the only way he would get into round two is if it goes again to like 6 or 7 games. But even then, I think they, like he said, they still have to be really careful.
Yeah, I think this management cares too much. Like more, I think they care more about the person than the player, and I think that's reflected in how they've handled this injury. So
Yeah.
I unless he was like totally cleared by 17 doctors, I don't think they would throw him in. If they made it to the third round, though, I think we would see him for sure,
Yeah.
Especially if they played the Islanders, that would be fun.
Yeah, and Josh, also like this management, like you did say, they do go in above beyond. Like they had an Alex Galchenyuk like revive the career sessions. Like I'm sorry, but if me and you were in charge, Josh,
Matt,
there's no way we're putting time and resources to getting Alex Galchenyuk to bounce back. Like you don't have time.
I wouldn't waste my time, but they did a good job.
Yeah, I know they did a good job. They go above and beyond.
Did he get beamed in the head last game, or was that just me?
No, I was jumping up and down. Petrie hit him right in the head, which should have been a 5-minute major. They didn't call it.
Yeah.
And then we lost.
Also, shout out to Colorado for getting the longest power play I've ever seen in my life last night.
Oh, yeah.
9-minute power play.
Yeah.
Yeah, Reeves went nuts.
Crazy. All right, I got 2 more. The starting goaltender for next year, game 1 of the regular season, will be Jack Campbell.
I'll say yes. I just think like I think we will start to look at free agency just to see who you can pair him with. I saw somebody tweet Mike Smith, which would be so entertaining, but I don't know if the fan base is ready for that. Like that's a lot on the mentals for 82 games. So
would you gamble on Tristan Jarry?
No, unless we get like a package like him plus this, him that, and just cap. I don't know how 3.5 works in, but anyways, yeah, I'll just go Jack Campbell. I think he's earned it, to be honest with you. I don't even think it's giving to him. I think he's earned it for a long period of time at this point.
Antonio, what about you?
This is a hard one for me because I love Freddie, and
so do I.
Yeah, I hate the fact that he's not playing, but at the same time, Campbell's he did so much more than anyone could have like ever asked him to do. So even if they lose tonight, I would still see them putting him in to start, and I think Freddie might be on his way out the door.
Yeah, I think he's going to demand too much money in free agency. I'll go Jack Campbell. I think Campbell's the better goalie at this point. Like, if you're going into next season, what do you have to base it off? I don't think you can go right back to Anderson, who wasn't your goalie in the playoffs. I think you would have to earn that kind of role reversal, right? Like he would have to earn that back. Last question. What is everybody drinking tonight? Because I don't think I could do this game sober.
I actually, for big games, I always like stuff. And my mom's Italian, so I'm getting like a lot of spaghetti. And then I'll probably drink water just because like, if it goes to overtime, you can't drink alcohol for like 5 hours. Like, you know, I plan strategically. So
just you can't.
Water, spaghetti, and salad. That's my meal for the game. Maybe popcorn.
For me, I've been drinking water too. I haven't been drinking during any of the games. I never really do. I don't know. I see all these people on Twitter saying like, oh, I'm on like my 2nd bottle of wine, or oh, like I'm on like my 5th beer. It's like, but I don't know. I've never had a drink really when I'm watching the game.
Yeah, I'll be putting back the Molson Canadians. So I'm not afraid to admit that. Antonia, where can we find all your? I know I asked you this last episode, but I'm sure we'll get some new listeners this episode. Where can we find you?
Everywhere. Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Those are like the two main ones, but it's pretty much everywhere. And
what do we search?
Oh, sorry. That hockey chick is the yeah, totally forgot. That hockey chick is the name of the podcast. That's my name on Instagram, and then on Twitter, it's the hockey chick.
Okay. The next time we talk, will the Leafs be in the second round? Yes or no? We'll end on that. Matt?
I'll go yeah. I'll just say yes.
Antonia?
Yeah.
I'll go with yes. I'm an idiot for doing it. Thank you, everybody.
You know what's funny? Once I say it.
Okay.
If we do make to the second round, everything that's happened, I think we would shit kick Winnipeg. I think it's literally the exact same guys going against each other in the mirror, and I think like it's the same team literally. So I'm very comfortable with us Winnipeg. I think it'll be fun.
I'm glad you saved the line of the podcast for the last 30 seconds that we'll shit kick Winnipeg. Okay, everybody, thank you for listening. Make sure you follow all of us. I'll put our socials down below. You can find this. Well, you found it if you're listening to it. So, have a good day. Drink some water. Go Leafs, go.